Ever wondered how a watch brand became a global symbol of success and luxury? The story of Rolex isn't just about telling time. It's about a visionary who changed the world of watchmaking forever. Forget what you think you know, because we're about to uncover the real history behind the crown. It all starts not in the rolling hills of Switzerland, but in the bustling streets of London in 1905. A young, determined 24-year-old German named Hans Wilsdorf founded a company. But it wasn't called Rolex just yet. It was Wilsdorf and Davis, a business he started with his brother-in-law, Alfred Davis. Their mission: to distribute high-quality Swiss-made watch movements, place them in fine British cases, and sell them to jewelers who would then put their own names on the dial. Wilsdorf was a man ahead of his time. Back then, wristwatches were seen as delicate, inaccurate trinkets, mostly for women. Real gentlemen carried pocket watches. But Wilsdorf saw the future. He dreamed of a watch that was both elegant and reliable, a constant companion on the wrist. He believed in the wristwatch's potential, but he knew it had a huge hurdle to overcome: precision. He was obsessed with accuracy. He partnered with a small Swiss manufacturer in Bienne that was known for making incredibly precise movements. Wilsdorf wasn't just selling watches. He was on a quest for perfection. In 1910, his relentless pursuit paid off. A Rolex wristwatch became the first in the world to receive the Swiss Certificate of Chronometric Precision. This was a massive deal. It proved that a small watch worn on the wrist could be just as accurate as a bulky pocket watch. But Wilsdorf knew that a groundbreaking product needed a groundbreaking name. He wanted something short, easy to pronounce in any language, and memorable. A name that looked good on a watch dial. He claimed the name Rolex was whispered to him by a good genie while riding a horse-drawn omnibus in London. In 1908, he trademarked the name, and the legend began. Having conquered precision, Wilsdorf set his sights on the next great challenge: durability. A watch on your wrist is exposed to everything: dust, sweat, moisture. These were the enemies of the delicate mechanics inside. Wilsdorf envisioned a watch that could seal out the elements completely. He wanted a watch that was truly waterproof. The world was skeptical. The idea of a perfectly sealed watch case seemed impossible. But Wilsdorf and his team were relentless. Their breakthrough came in 1926 with the invention of the Rolex Oyster. This was the world's first waterproof and dustproof wristwatch. It featured a hermetically sealed case with a screwed-down bezel, case back, and winding crown, providing unprecedented protection for the movement inside. But how do you convince the public that this seemingly impossible feat is real? Wilsdorf was a marketing genius. He needed a bold public demonstration. In 1927, he found a perfect opportunity. A young English swimmer named Mercedes Gleitz was preparing to swim the English Channel. Wilsdorf equipped her with a Rolex Oyster. After more than 10 hours in the cold, unforgiving water, Gleitz didn't complete the swim. But the watch emerged in perfect working order. To celebrate, Wilsdorf took out a full-page ad on the front of London's Daily Mail, proclaiming the success of the waterproof watch. The headline read, "The Wonder Watch That Defies the Elements." This stunt was a masterstroke of public relations. It catapulted Rolex into the global spotlight and cemented the Oyster's reputation for rugged reliability. The era of the tool watch had begun. With precision and durability mastered, there was one final piece to the puzzle of the perfect everyday watch: convenience. Manually winding your watch every day was a chore. Wilsdorf wanted a watch that would wind itself. Building on earlier concepts, Rolex perfected and patented the world's first self-winding mechanism with a perpetual rotor in 1931. This was a semicircular weight that could pivot freely in both directions, using the natural motion of the wearer's wrist to constantly wind the mainspring. It was revolutionary. They housed this incredible invention inside the Oyster case, and the Rolex Oyster Perpetual was born. This combination of precision, water resistance, and a self-winding movement became the foundation for every single Rolex watch that followed. It was the blueprint for the modern wristwatch. Wilsdorf hadn't just created a better watch. He had defined what a wristwatch should be. Throughout the 1930s and 40s, Rolex's reputation grew not just through advertising, but through real-world testing. Their watches were on the wrists of pioneers and adventurers pushing the limits of human endeavor. When Sir Malcolm Campbell broke the world land speed record multiple times, he was wearing a Rolex. Rolex became synonymous with performance under pressure. Even during World War II, the Rolex story continued. British officers held in prisoner-of-war camps could write to Rolex and receive a new watch, with payment deferred until after the war. Wilsdorf was betting on their survival and their honor. This act of faith created an unbreakable bond of loyalty with a generation of servicemen. By the mid-20th century, Rolex was no longer just a watch company. It was an empire built on a foundation of relentless innovation and brilliant marketing. Wilsdorf had transformed the wristwatch from a fragile piece of jewelry into an essential, reliable tool for modern life. In the decades that followed, Rolex would go on to create some of the most iconic watches in history: the Submariner for divers, the GMT Master for pilots, the Daytona for race car drivers, and the Day-Date for world leaders. Each one was a testament to the founding principles established by Hans Wilsdorf in those early, formative years. The true genius of Rolex was its ability to combine rugged functionality with timeless, aspirational style. A Rolex wasn't just a tool. It was a symbol of achievement, an heirloom to be passed down through generations. Hans Wilsdorf didn't just sell timepieces. He sold a promise of performance, prestige, and permanence. He built an empire not just of steel and gears, but of dreams and aspirations. And that is the true story of how the Rolex empire was born. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into watch history, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Let me know in the comments which iconic brand's history you'd like us to explore next. See you in the next one.